Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest. I'm featuring 25 companies who released interesting March quarter Appendix 4Cs or 5Bs. I've already gone through, is it 4 or 5? And today I'm going to be focusing on a company called Gratifii. Ticker code of this company is GTI. And yes, I always mix up the spelling of this company because it sort of sounds like graffiti, but it's Gratifii with two I's at the end of the name. Now, I've done a few videos on this company in the past, and even though I've done a few companies, I always have to go back and have a look at my notes in regards to what this company does. So they are a royalty and rewards solution company. Their enterprise cloud platform, which is actually called Mosaic, allows their clients to operate, manage, and customize their loyalty program. Okay, so before we have a look at the March quarter results, let's go back to the last time I did a video on this company just to see how this company has grown since then. So the last time I did a video on Gratifii was a September quarter financial year 23. So we are talking about over 1 year ago. And I'm not sure why I did a video on this company then, because they were not operating cash flow positive. In fact, they were negative by 601,000. But nice receipts $5.5 million. Cash on hand, 1.5 million. That would be a red flag because they burned through $601,000 of cash. And that means they have about 2.5 quarters left of cash on hand. Receipts up $3.8 million from the previous corresponding period. But when you add product manufacturing and operating costs, staff costs, and administration costs, those were all up by combined 3.7 million. So little scale was found for this company over this period of time. And when I say this period of time, I'm talking about the 1 year period from the September quarter financial year 22 to the September quarter financial year 23. And what do I mean by scale? Receipts up by a certain amount, costs up by almost the exact same amount. No scale at all. So let's turn our attention to the March quarter financial year 24 to see if this company has found some scale. And I think the answer to that is yes, which I'll touch upon in a second. So let's have a look at the numbers this company produced in the March quarter. Receipts up $8.8 million. The other thing about the March quarter, we have not only have the quarter numbers, we also have the year-to-date number. So receipts to customers, 8.8 million, year-to-date, 25.1 million. And the company in this particular quarter was or is operating cash flow positive by 402,000. And it seems like potentially the company has hit an inflection point because year-to-date, they're only operating cash flow positive by 315,000, which implies they were operating cash flow negative for at least one or two of the previous quarters in this financial year. Now, cash on hand would have been a little bit of concern at the start of the quarter, only $695,000. Now it's up to 1.4 million. That was helped by the cash flow, but also the company did a capital raising, a $1.2 million capital raising. Now on to scale. So remember, in the September quarter financial year 23, receipts up and costs up by the same amount, almost the same amount. So receipts up $3.2 million. This is from the September quarter financial year 23, not from the previous corresponding period. So receipts up 3.2 million. Product manufacturing operating costs up 2.5 million. But staff costs and administration costs both down, albeit by small amounts, but still down by combined 220,000, which means, yes, this company did find a little bit of scale in the past almost 2 years, probably 18 months. So receipts up 3.2 million, costs only up by about 2.3 million dollars. That's why the company went from being operating cash flow negative 600,000 to operating cash flow positive 400. They did find a little bit of scale. So the company is increasing their revenue and receipts by a great amount than their spending. So possibly an inflection point for this company. One thing I do when I am researching a company is I look at the receipts or revenue, depending on or how the company reports, and I want to see receipts or revenue growing through time. This is an absolute or a must for me. The reason why it's an absolute or must for me is the best way to grow earnings for a company. The most efficient way is by growing their revenue, because another way a company can grow their profit is if they don't increase their revenue, they can decrease their costs or increase their margins. But decreasing costs or increasing margins is not infinite. Company can't do that for a long time, but a company can keep on growing their revenue for an infinite amount of time. That's the avenue to long-term growth in a company. That's how a company can go from a market cap of $100 million to $100 billion if they can grow their revenue substantially. Anyway, so I always look at receipts or revenue history of a company. Now, for a company that releases an Appendix 4C or 5B, we have 4 quarters of numbers. That's receipts. So here is Gratifii's receipts history going back to 2018. To be honest with you, from 2018 all the way through to 2021, I would have no interest in this company because receipts were not growing. Then all of a sudden, in the middle of 2021, receipts started to grow. I don't know the history behind this company. Maybe they made an acquisition, and that acquisition was a really astute acquisition because receipts started to grow, or maybe they made a number of acquisitions, or maybe this is all organic growth. Maybe what they were doing started to succeed in the middle of 2021. But receipts started to grow in that year, and they've continued to grow. Now, there is a little bit of lumpiness here. In fact, their record quarter was the June quarter last year, 9.3 million. So I need to see $9.3 million exceeded for me to become even more excited about this company. To be honest with you, I'm not that excited, but I need to see that quarter was just not a one-off. I need to see a continued growth in receipts moving forward for this company. But overall, the trend is really positive for this company. Not only is the trend positive in terms of receipts, the company is now operating cash flow and free cash flow positive. Now let's take a look at Gratifii's daily chart over the past 2 years. This goes back to May 2022. And if you just ignore volume, you might have a more of a bearish opinion about this company. However, there's been a little bit of a shift in the trend, a possible shift in trend in the past few months. Share price has rallied nicely from 0.4 cents to a high of 1.2 cents, but is now back down to about 0.8 cents. But if you just focus on the chart or the share price action, you might come away still a little bit bearish. But when you include volume, you might come away with a different opinion, because the volume has absolutely exploded, or to be less dramatic, has expanded in the last 3 or 4 months. And what that is telling me is someone in the market, could be a fund managers, it could be just retail investors, someone in the market has taken notice to Gratifii. Someone in the market is liking what they see with this company. And typically what you see when a share price is in a downtrend, like a well-defined downtrend, like you saw with this company, from I don't know how long, but during the first or the most of this particular period, you'll see fairly low volume. And what is that's telling us, as share price gets lower and lower, the market remains uninterested in the company. So you want to see an expanding volume. You want to see volume starting to increase, which tells us that someone in the market is getting interested. Preferably, we want those interested parties to be fund managers, because it's ultimately the fund managers who drive the share price higher for really any company, but less likely for these type of companies because they are small and most of these companies aren't profitable. But if Gratifii releases another really positive quarter results in July for the last quarter of the financial year, that could be the catalyst for a shift, an ultimate shift in sentiment and a shift in the trend in the share price. So what I see when I look at this volume increasing is someone like what they saw for the March quarter, and they are just building a position in this company. Now, it could be a big position, could be multiple small positions, but someone out there is building a position in Gratifii. It could be getting their foot in the door in anticipation of a good June quarter. That could be what they're doing. But I would be remaining patient right now, just to keep an eye on the March or the June quarter results. And if they do release a really good quarter, that could be the time to get interested in this company, or maybe build your position in this company further. That's all I have for this look at Gratifii, their March quarter results, financial year 24. If you have any questions, any thoughts about this company, actually, I'd love to hear from any shareholders. What do you think about this company? It's looking promising. This was a good quarter result from the company, And I do like what I'm seeing on the chart, particularly in terms of volume. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on Gratifii. So leave those in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I'm not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who's qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.